So the European got the books of Ptolemy in the 1480 CE, and with the help of this book they started preparing new maps based on the mathematical calculations given in the book. So map was is given on in your textbook on the page number 5. And during this particular 15th century, the people around the world were quite enthusiastic to learn more about Ptolemy's work, and many schools were being established to learn or to teach about the Ptolemy's maps. For example, like in Italy, Italian school was started. In France, French school was started. In England, English school was started. In Germany, German school was started to study the Ptolemy's map. He inspired many large people to learn the importance of map. So what happened after learning this? The travelers started to move from one place to another place. But during the 15th century, what happened was that many of the European traders or travelers were disappointed. Many wanted to come to India to have trade, but during the 15th century, that is in 1453, what happened? The Arab, right, Muhammad Sultan II, the Turkish Sultan, he blocked the sea route. He did not allow the Europeans to pass through it. So the Europeans could not pass through it and could not have a trade with India. Now there was a challenge here. What? To find a new sea route to India. They had to find a new sea route, and from there started exploration, discovery. Many particular travelers, explorer, they started. Columbus. Have you heard about the Columbus name, right? He discovered West Indies, right? Then Vasco da Gama, he also started from Portugal, and he reached India in the year 1498 CE. He discovered the new sea route to India. Yes, this particular century, at the end of the 15th century, the Europeans were able to discover a new sea route to India. Right, that was a great achievement. After Vasco da Gama has invented this new sea route, then slowly others also started finding the route to India, like the Netherlands, the Dutch, we can say, or the Italians, or we can say the Britishers or the French. They all started to explore this sea route, and they came to India and they started having trade with India. So at the end of 15th century, it was a great joy for the European travelers who explored the new sea route. And in the 16th century, Holland is also called as Netherlands, it emerged as the major trading power. With the rise of Holland's maritime supremacy and trade, its map makers made a major breakthrough in their work. The Dutch. This Holland people are called as the Dutch. Indonesia. You might have heard about this country. Indonesia was under the control of these Dutch people, and they ruled this Indonesia till 1950. They have ruled. In the year 1950, they left. They handed over it to the people of Indonesia, and they left Indonesia. So these Dutch people, they emerge as one of the strongest colonial powers, The father of the Dutch cartography was Gerardus Mercator, Who is the cartography? Who prepares a map based on the latitudes and longitudes. So he used these projections, accurately, and he prepared the maps, and that's what he was called as the father of the Dutch cartography. He lived between the period of 1512 to 1594 CE. He examined the previous works and did about more original works on maps. Mercator's map projection is famously known as Mercator projection. Right? Mercator's map projection is famously known as Mercator projection. Most of the world maps we use are based on his projections. Most of the maps what we use today are based on his projection. Now, talk about the projection in a map. Right? As we all know that the world is like a ball, but when we draw it on a paper, we cannot show the curvatures. Curvature means what? Circles, we cannot show it when you draw it on the flat paper. Right? If you look at, world is like a ball. Right? On this, you are drawing. Like this you are drawing. You can draw semicircles. But on a flat paper, can you draw semicircles? It's quite difficult, right? So that's what we do. We draw a straight line. We draw the straight line, latitudes or longitudes. We draw it in a straight line. You can see in this particular page here, the lines are drawn straight here. So we cannot show curvatures on a flat paper. This inevitably causes some distortion, either the shape of the continents and the distances will get distorted or objects will get placed in the wrong directions. Sailors needed correct directions and shapes so that they could identify the landmarks. So Mercator devised a method for showing the correct shapes and directions of the continent but with distortion of sizes and distances, and this is called Mercator projection, which is still used in the present world, right? So it is used in the world map also, and the world map also shows about the Mercator's projection without any kind of disturbances, right? He has prepared this world map on a flat surface. So this is, we can see how the world map has been prepared by the Mercator, and today also we are using his ideas. Mercator's projection we are using. So the ideas based on Mercator's projection, today the maps are being prepared. Now there are two questions are given on this particular page. In what ways do you think sailors influence the makers of maps in early times? In what way they used to influence them? So these sailors, what they used to do, they used to explore that particular places, they used to get the details of the places, and they used to give it to the geographers. And these geographers, based on the details given by the sailors, they used to prepare the maps. Another question: why do you think did the map makers place their own country in the middle of the map? Because what they felt was, these map makers, what they felt was that their particular country was in the center of the world. If you see, according to the Bible, Jerusalem is the center, right? Is the largest. Same way, Al-Idrisi also has placed Arabia in the center. Then Babylonian map, their city is in the center of the world. Sumerian map, or the other maps, you can see that they place their countries in the center. Why? Because they felt that their country in the center and the world is around them. That is why they placed their countries in the middle of the map. So we'll continue with the topic, that is colonization, exploration, military use and map making. In this we'll be discussing about how the colonial powers, they conquered the other countries and how they prepare the maps based on the physical features. For example, the Britishers. So we have discussed about how the maps have been prepared very accurately by using the projections, right? So the famous projectionist Gerardus Mercator, he prepared the maps with its projections, and that's what you call as a Mercator's projection also it has been called. So today also we are using, right, that particular projections to prepare the world maps. Now during the colonization also, these particular Europeans, they prepared the maps. But how did they prepare the maps? Now what is colonization? Colonization means what? One particular country occupying the other country to take all the natural resources or to take control about that particular country, we call as colonization. For example, India was colonized by Britishers. India was colonized by Britishers. Means India was completely controlled under the Britishers. But how the Britishers were able to colonize India? In what way? So let us learn about in a detail in this topic, colonization, exploration, what the military use, and map making. So in this, clearly these Europeans, especially the Britishers, the Dutch, that is Holland, the French, the Portuguese, the Spanish, these countries, or we can call it the European countries, they colonized North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Australia. They have colonized all this. For example, Spain, they conquered different particular parts in South America. Take Britishers, they conquered a large number of countries in different parts of the world. They have in Africa, in America, in Asia, they have conquered many countries. They have conquered, right? After they have colonized these countries, they wanted to know many more things. What type of people are living there? What type of natural resources they have? Right, and for this they have to send scientific expeditions. They have to send scientific expeditions, and to make that particular maps also they had to send the map makers along with them. Right, so they did the scientific expeditions. For example, the Italians, right, sorry, the Belgians, they send Livingstone, right, to where called as Congo. They send there. Why? To know what type of people are living there, right? What type of natural resources are there. Then they went and conquered that Congo place and took all the natural resources. So like this, these Europeans, they send the scientific expeditions. They come to know what type of natural resources are there, how to reach these particular places. They make the sea route, right? They make the maps. And with the help of this map, they used to send their team, that is soldiers, and conquer that particular places. So in that way, Britishers also, they did the same thing. They sent the first, they came to India by the name of trade. They started the trade. Slowly they came to know what type of natural resources are available in India, what type of people are living in India, what languages they are speaking there, right? So they came to know every detail. They took it, and slowly they started colonizing our country, taking control our country under their control. After the Britishers took India under their control, right, in the year 1802, right, in the year 1802, right. So what they did, sorry, not 1802, in the 18th century, that is 19th century starting, they set up a department called as Survey of India. They set up a department called as a Survey of India, right. And for this, James Renal was appointed as a Survey General. Why they have appointed this Survey General? What they wanted to know? They wanted to know the different particular places. They wanted to know the interior part of our country. They wanted a detailed maps. You can see here the detailed map, right? Okay, so James Renal was appointed as a Survey General, and he prepared one of the first survey maps based maps of India. These are first maps prepared by James Renal, right? Then in the year 1802, William Lambert, right? William Lambert was appointed, right, and he went on to make one of the what you call as a challenging maps here, right? So what do you want to do? So He began one of the most important geographical surveys in the world, starting from Chennai to the Himalayas. Now, why from Chennai to the Himalayas? Usually, in the 7th class, we have learned about in the first lesson, how do we measure the height of a place? Through the mean sea level, MSL, right? So, William Lambert, he wanted to measure the height of the various places. So that's what he started from Chennai. Chennai is at the coast. It's a coastal place. So he started from there. So it was very easy for him to know the height of the various places in the Himalayas and etc. etc. So he wanted to take the length, right, of the longitude and height of the various places from Chennai to Himalayas. But unfortunately, he was unable to complete it. He was unable to complete it. So this survey was completed by George Everest. It was completed by George Everest. And it is this survey which established that Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. Alright, Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. Yes, the height of the Mount Everest is 8,848 meters. Means the highest peak in the world itself. And who did this survey? Right? William Lambert started this, but it was completed by George Everest, and that's why this particular survey is named as right, or the particular mount is named as Mount Everest, who measured the height for the first time using the scientific methods. So the survey began in Chennai, because all heights are measured from the sea level. All heights are measured from the sea level. Now, why these maps are important? Why these maps are important? Maps were also in great demand during the times of war. We have discussed about colonization, we discussed about exploration, right? Now we are discussing about the military use. Maps were also in great demand during the times of war, as armies and air forces needed them. Thus, map making received great impetus during the Third World War. It was received great importance during the two world wars, World War I and World War II. Many governments tried to keep this detailed maps secretly so that enemies could not use them. Now, why? They did not want to reveal their maps. Today, we have the maps in our pocket. If you take out the phone and you just type India map, you will get the whole map. You can get any particular part of the world, you can get the maps. But in those days, it was not revealed. It was kept secret. Why? Because the army can know the weakness and they can enter the country very easily. That's what they kept it secretly. So, however, in our times today, we use the satellite imagery has transformed the nature of mapping. We not only have very accurate and detailed maps today, but it is no longer possible for governments to keep them as secret. This information is available to all the people for study and use today. Today everyone is having the map. In my cell phone, right? In the cell phone also I have a map, isn't it? So like that, everyone can use a map today. It is not a secret. It's not a secret at all. But in those days, it was kept secret. Today, if you want to know, for example, a traveler want to go to some other particular place, he can just take out the map and he can search it, right? So, map today has become available very easily. Very, very easily it has been available. But in those days, why it was kept secretly? Because they could, the colonial powers can come and take away their natural resources. That is why they kept it very secretly. So there are some questions are given over here in this book. Here, do you think this free access to map is good thing or not? Why? Why do you think did the colonial powers invest so much money to prepare detailed maps? Find out about the lives of some of the great explorers like David Livingstone, Stanley Amundsen, etc., Find out who sponsored their expeditions and why. This is your homework. Find it out. So you write the above questions, questions given in the box over here in your homework book, right? That is on the page number 8. So after the explanation of colonization, exploration, military use, after that you write the answers. So answers are given over here. I explained also about it. Now let us go for the next topic, that is uses of maps in our times. Uses of maps in our times. Uses of maps in our time. Now, present time, how we are using the map, but in what way the maps were being useful during the olden days, that also we have to know. So let us first try to understand here. So olden days, maps were used. For what they were used? They were used for sailing. They were used for trading from one particular place to the other place, right? They had the knowledge about that. Next, conquest. Conquering the other places. Wars and colonization. For these purposes, the maps were being used in the olden days. For sailing, for trading, for conquest, for wars and for colonizations, maps were being used. Then what about the maps at present? How these maps are useful at present in our times? Let us try to learn about that. Present days, maps are used for what? For planning and development. For planning and development. So for planning and development, these maps are used today. What do you mean by plan and development? Yes, there are many people are there who want to develop industries. There are many people are there who want to start hospitals. Now the government want to lay roads. The government want to lay pipelines they wanted to connect the pipelines from a river or a tank to the particular village where water is not available. The government want to plan for all this. For these purposes, at present, the maps are being used. Now, when talk about hospitals, where the hospitals can be constructed or where they can be built, that is what the government has to think or the businessman has to think about it. Now, if you want to construct a hospital, first of all, you have to know whether their transportation is available, whether medical facilities are available in and around, that is medical shops or diagnostic centers or labs, etc. are available or not. How much particular people are living in that particular area? Right. Now, why I am saying people living in an area? You cannot construct or build a hospital in a place where population is very meager, very less. Can you construct a hospital there? No, it's of no use. If you build a school, children must be available there. If 2-3 children are there and you construct a school building, is it a use? No, it's of no use at all. So for these purposes, government compulsory requires map. They'll plan it. They'll plan first. Where to build, how to build, for whom to build, these all the questions they will have. And with this planning, they go for the developmental program of that particular area. Planning for agricultural development, right? Planning for setting up of new industries, planning to build roads, planning to build tanks. This all plan is based on the map. If maps are not available, you cannot go for planning or developmental programs. Now, there's a question is given there. Can you suggest how maps can be used to plan and set up new schools and colleges? Can you suggest some particular points? How maps can be used to plan and set up new schools and colleges? Just like given you the answer, right? And what are different kinds of maps that would you have to be studied for this? Now you want to build a college or a school, new school or college. What type of map do you require? You require a population map. Yes, based on the population, you can build a school or a college. If population is only 10 in that particular village or in that particular area, is there a necessity of a new college or a school? There's no need. There's no need at all. So, compulsory, a population map is required, a transportation map is required, right? So, maps, this type of maps are compulsory for building new schools and colleges in the area. Hope you have got the answer. So, talk about building hospitals also, building industries also. You require maps. You require maps. So, for example, a mobile telephone company that wants to spread its network in an area will need the map of the village, town and hills and forests to set up microwave towers. Microwave towers, right? So, this particular planning should be done. If there are no people are available, there are no buildings are available, right? So it is very, very important where the micro tower has to be planted or set up, right? From there, it gives a signal to that particular area. So the business people who want to set up this mobile tower, they have to think about it very carefully. They have to plan it very carefully. There are two other questions are given there below that. If someone wants to choose an appropriate place to set up a hospital, what kind of maps would be useful to make, right? To them, make a list of it, right? If you want to set up a hospital, what kind of maps do you require? What are the maps, sir? Previously I told you, if you want to set up a hospital, what do you require? You have to require a map of transportation. You have to require a map of population. Are the particular facilities available? Means they are connected to the other cities or not? This type of maps compulsory are required. Why do you think, another question, why do you think are maps useful to armies in times of war? Maps. Why it is required, right? Think about it, right? Think about it for a second. Why maps are required? For example, I want to wage a war with the neighboring country. It may be China, it may be Pakistan, it may be Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh or whatever the neighboring countries. But I require a map. I require a map. Why? Because from where I can enter that countries. So to enter the countries, I require a map. And without a map, I may not be having a knowledge how to attack that particular country. So that was in the olden days. But nowadays, map is not at all required. Why? Because today we are using scientific developed weapons we are using. Today, we are attacking the other countries by airways. Just by airways, throw the bomb, finished. There are today nuclear weapons are there. You can just shoot it from your country to the other countries. So many kilometers far you can, right, shoot it. So at present we do not require maps, but in the olden times armies required maps to wage a war. Why? So that they can enter the areas very easily. Hope you have understood this question also. The next topic we are going to discuss about reading thematic map. Reading thematic maps. What is thematic map? What is thematic map? A map that focuses only on one aspect. One aspect is called thematic map. Thematic map. A map that focuses only on one aspect, only on one particular aspect, and that is called as a thematic map. Only one aspect means what? For example, this particular map only tells us about mountains, plains, plateaus, hills, rivers, deserts. It tells us about only one particular aspect, and that is called as a physical map. Example, physical map, political map. Yes, political map. Political map also is a thematic map. Now, what does the political map tells us about? It tells us about countries, right? It tells us about states, it tells us about districts. Then we have separate maps for villages, etc. Means this particular political map, in the political map also only related country like India map. Okay, this particular map tells us about only about India. One particular map is about other country called Africa. So like that, there is a specific maps are there which tells us about that particular country. So that is what clearly what it says thematic map means. It focuses only one particular aspect. Only one particular aspect here. Only one aspect here. Country map, state maps are there, district maps are there, village maps also are there. So it tells us only one aspect. There are many more particular maps also are there. Population maps are there. Rainfall maps are there, right? So different type of maps are available. Some are physical map, which show mountains, rivers, plateaus, etc. Some are land use maps. Some are land use map which show people how the people use a land. For example, some part of village lands may be used for pasture, for raising food crops, for raising cash crops like cotton, while some parts may be reserved for residential areas, schools, places of worship and shops. Some parts may be kept as waste or fallow land or for water reservoirs. When we make a map to show the use of the land in that village, we have to use different kind of symbols. So there are different type of maps are there. There are some particular maps are there which we call as land maps. So how the land is being used by the people. For example, Hyderabad. Can you find in Hyderabad agricultural land? No. You cannot find in Hyderabad because Hyderabad is completely built with concrete buildings, right? Industries are there, buildings are there, means houses are there. So completely dearth of houses are present in Hyderabad. So you cannot show agricultural land in Hyderabad. So the land what we use is not present in Hyderabad, that is agricultural land. So there are maps are there which show what type of land is present in Hyderabad, what type of land is present in that particular other part or other neighboring village of Hyderabad. So thematic map only focuses on one aspect. And to show all this, whether it's an agricultural land, whether it's a waste or fallow land, symbols are used. What are used? Symbols. So, symbols are used to show the use of land. The use of land. Okay, so clearly symbols are being used to show the use of the land, whether they are wastelands, whether they are agricultural land, whether they are pastures, whether they are land used for raising crops, etc., etc. Now, when we talk about symbols, so to show these particular different use of the land, we are using symbols. But symbols are not just used only for showing the land, but symbols are used for various purposes. For showing temple or place of worship, you can say, to show schools, or to show hospitals, to show the railway station, to show mountains, plains, plateaus, rivers. Symbols are used, and along with the symbols, colors and patterns are also used in the map. For example, if I show you this map, look at this map. This map has different colors, right? It shows the different colors, different patterns here, right? So with this, what we can understand that yes, maps are represented with colors, patterns and symbols. Okay, so here symbol means the river symbol is given here, that is a river symbol. Okay, the blue color one is a river symbol. So blue color means what? Water. So here in this particular page number 9, here they have mentioned about the color, land cover and land use. Color, land cover and land use. So dark green represents what? Forest. Light green, grassland. Means green represents vegetation. Green color represents vegetation. Vegetation means all plants. You can say grass, plants or forest. This all comes under vegetation. So green color represents the vegetation. Brown, land used for agriculture. Yellow, which is used for topographical maps, cropped area. Dark gray, mountains. Light gray, hills. So gray color represents what? Mountains and hills. Mountains and hills. So gray color. Okay. Then yellow, plateau and swamps. Yeah, this is very important. Yellow color. Yellow, plateaus or plateaus. Light red, wasteland, the lands which are not at all being used. Light blue, tanks, rivers, canals, wells, etc. Dark blue, seas and ocean. So blue represents, blue color represents rivers, tanks, canals, oceans, seas, etc. So blue color represents what? River, tank, canals, oceans, seas, etc. Ocean, seas, etc. So where you can look at here the color blue. Blue color means what? Here you can see the water. This is the Bay of Bengal and this is the Arabian Sea. Similarly, here also you can see in the map of Telangana, you can see the water bodies are covered with the blue color, rivers. White, places where minerals are available. Black, boundary. Boundaries of the state, boundaries of the country, they are marked with black color. Right. If you look at here, this map, the boundary line of this particular country called India is marked with black color. Similarly, states are colored here with different color, but boundaries are marked with black color. So these are the different colors which are used in a map. So what are the colors? Main colors used in the map: green color, which represents the vegetation; gray color, mountains and hills; yellow color, plateaus; blue color, rivers, tanks, canals, oceans, etc. So these are the important 4 colors which are used in a map. For representing the various socio-economic aspects, details, we can use the technique of map patterns like points, symbols, lines, etc. Quantitative data can be represented by dot method, circles, graph, charts, etc. In stipulated thematic maps, shading can be used as a pattern. You can use shading also, dark shade, light colored shade. We will be discussing about that also, right, in the next particular topic, population map. How to make a population map.